Oh, boy, 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 boy.
See that? I don't even need like a soundboard or like that kind of stuff because I'm like a master at special effects. Anyway, sound effects. Welcome back to the It Bees Like That podcast. As always, I'm your host Chris. Day 3 of the mini cut. I don't know. I have this like maybe 40% of my 40% of me wants to stop calling it a mini cut. I feel like maybe there's a better way to describe it, but for efficiency's sake, we're just going to keep calling it the mini cut. So, it may or may not have occurred to you, depending on your level of experience with dieting, that to go from 3,400 to 3,600 calories, we'll just call it 3,400 calories, straight down to 2,500 calories is an extreme jump. And you may have an idea or a thought that I may be shooting myself in the foot regarding potential fat loss, maybe short stopping that fat loss potential. And I would say, in different circumstances, in different contexts, you may have a bit of an argument. However, in a short 4-week time span, it is optimal, and I will burn a ton of fat in that 4 weeks with a moderate to pretty aggressive calorie deficit. Going so, and what am I talking about? Instead of going from 34 to 31 to 27 to 25 to 23, 21, etc., I go straight to 25. Boom. That is like a 900 calorie drop from what I'm used to in my massing phase, straight to 2,500. So in 4 short weeks, I will burn a ton of fat. This will help me burn a ton of fat. Now, if I went straight to 2,500 and we start discussing things like metabolic adaptation and say I have still until June to diet, jumping straight to 2,500 may be a bad idea, right? Because where do I go from there? I've only got a few calorie decreases left from 2,500 and 6 months to go and a lot of weight to lose. So given that context, it might be a bad idea. However, I'll be stopping this mini cut in 4 weeks, eating at maintenance for 3 weeks, almost a month, and then starting my prep for contest season. Make sense? So then I won't go from maintenance to 2,500. I may be at 2,500 cumulatively, including cardio and other activities throughout the day, in addition to my deficit from nutrition. What I probably will not do is go from maintenance straight to 2,500. Because again, talking about metabolic adaptation and then leaving myself no room. Because what's going to happen, I plateau and I'm already at 1,800 calories. Where do I go from there? 16? Where do I go from there? 1,400? Come on. No, come on. I'm not really in the business of starving, so you get the gist. But day 3, feeling pretty good. Still feeling pretty good. I'm in deload week. And even in deload, I'm like, damn. I'm definitely feeling a strength hit with the reduction in carbs. I went from 400 to like 220, so a big jump there, and noticed a big decrease in energy, strength, energy, and performance. I mean, I could still hit the weight. Like, that's not the issue. It's not like all of a sudden I can't hit the weights or the poundages that I was last week. However, I do notice that there's an additional degree of difficulty, and I have to be a bit more locked in, whereas last week 5 to 10 pound increases every week, was not, they weren't really a big deal. But now, definitely, like I say, I'm feeling it. But the other thing that I am enjoying is the reduction in water weight. Typically, like for me, the way that this goes is, so I'll give you an example. While dieting, if I have a cheat meal and daily my carbohydrate intake is maybe 180, 200 max. But on this day, including my daily nutrition plus my cheat meal, I'm around 400. That's going to cause me to retain a bit of water, especially like if there's, taking into consideration additional sodium and how well I've slept or how long I've been dieting. All of these things have an impact, but where I'm going with this is it generally takes me about, by the second day, I start to really see the excess water flush from the retention from the additional carbs and sodium. And so we're sitting at day 3. So day 2 yesterday, last night, I was up. I mean, I'm up a lot anyway during the night going to the bathroom, but it was like probably like every hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. But when you're sleeping, those short bouts of sleep to wake so frequently, it begins to feel like you literally just laid down 15 minutes ago. So that's kind of the way that it felt. And that could have a little to do with the strength hit that I took in performance today too. But I'm talking about like full on like fire hose. I'm just like evacuating all of this excess fluid, which is nice because I mean it is wintertime and it's off season and we're bulking, but we're not anymore. But I was starting to feel and look pale and pregnant, and that's not. I do not like the combination of those sensations are not something that I prefer. So anyway, the point is like shedding this excess water is great. It's really good. Noticing too, like, so when you retain excess water, one of the things that it will do, this is like an odd benefit, I guess, but one of the things that it'll do is if you have like a joint or a limb or digit that's a little bit hinky, like I have like this kind of like version of plantar fasciitis in my left foot, but when I'm holding a lot of water, it kind of just makes everything tight, so I don't deal with a lot of that pain. But the trade-off is my shoes are really tight. But now that I'm dropping that water, oh man, dang it, I feel that pain again. Like after about 35 minutes of walking at incline, then it starts to bug me. So now I'm on the hunt for the proper shoe. But just stuff like that, noticing, little things coming back that were alleviated by, the water retention. Because if you picture it, just like you have a joint that's a little loose, right? And the added fluid, everything's just tight. I mean, it gets to a point where it's tight and uncomfortable, but for a time, it's tight, and it's kind of like an ace bandage made of excess fluid. That's the best way I can describe it. But all in all, I'm relieved. Like, it was starting to get really tough to push food, and even on cheat meals, I'm just like, which is, if y'all know me, like that is contrary to my personality, period. So that was another signal that it was time to pull the plug on this, but feeling good otherwise, and really excited for this month to end, to see where we land. Again, I anticipate, I don't know, conservatively 8 to 10 pounds, because I don't really have a goal for that. My goal, honestly, was to get most of this water off, reacclimate myself to stricter eating style, and just kind of, this is like a little mini prep, to to prepare myself for what's to come. But yeah, otherwise I'm feeling really, 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 really good. Let's see, what else are we going to talk about? Oh man. So a very human thing, a very human experience, especially when we're dealing with people that we have an affinity for, that we like or appreciate or have a relationship with, whatever, that's mainly or mostly positive. A thing that can happen, well, I won't make that comparison, but a thing that can happen is the lines between, so the boundaries between where my opinions and beliefs start and stop. Well, the boundary between where my opinions and beliefs end and yours start, and vice versa, they get kind of blurred because we have a want or a desire, like I say, in relationships with people that we appreciate, to demonstrate that appreciation, right? We want people to know that we value them. So I think, and sometimes not even intentionally, we will affirm beliefs or opinions or ideas about other people or situations that maybe we don't have enough information for to form a fair opinion about. But we will, again, just so that we can affirm this person or persons that we value, to again demonstrate to them the value and appreciation that we have. This is a mistake. This is a mistake in a couple of ways, and I'll share with you at least two. The first is, and I think, or I hope would be the most obvious one, you will lose yourself this way. Your voice becomes blurred and just thrown into the mix of this deafening din, just whirlwind of an echo chamber, and it's hard to distinguish between any salient points or individual or original thoughts of yours as compared to or from all of the others that you're now in this big swirling massive mix with. Second, deep down, most reasonably minded people don't value that in other people. So this is where it's going to get kind of complicated. Bear with me. Here, like in our everyday interactions, and where the consequences and variables are more tangible, right? Like, this is where we assess a lot of the value to the behaviors and thoughts and opinions of ourselves and other people. And it would be easy to believe, even for me, that this is it. This is the metric by which these things are evaluated and by which value is attributed. Not entirely, right? Because deep down, deep down, in our most visceral and spiritual selves, most of us who are reasonably minded, whether we consciously think about these things or not, we desire people in our lives who can think for themselves and who challenge us on our beliefs, and who push us in healthy ways, right, to distinguish ourselves from groupthink, hive mind, echo chambers, etc. In day-to-day interaction where life looks more like a competition and survival, removing more of the spiritual side of ourselves, right? This is where things get confusing because we don't see as much of that background desire, that more visceral spiritual desire. to be driven and pushed and challenged by people. Those are the ways in which we truly show one another how much we value and accept and love each other. It isn't, we do by affirming, sure, because that helps the sense of community and togetherness and connectedness and stuff like that, and I get it. Where you will see where my point is proven is when it comes down to it, it will be easier, unless this person is a sociopath or whatever, it will be easier for that person to throw you under the bus, right? Because where they lost you, they have 100 or 1,000 just like you who will come in and fulfill the same role that you did, right? But if you are among the people who genuinely display love and appreciation for them in ways that aren't common, again, by challenging each other in healthy ways, pushing limits, requiring them to be their best, right? And demonstrating and asking them to think for themselves. That person's going to be harder to throw away. Not that it would be impossible, but that person is going to be more difficult to discard, because you will, even if you can't readily identify that feeling in the moment, maybe someday you will, but you'll feel this hollowness and this emptiness that you will continue to try to fill with the things that you're used to, but you won't be able to. And that's life in general, period, right? So going back to it being more important to have people in your life, right, who will challenge you in healthy ways, who will encourage you to be your best, who will ask you to push your limits, right, within reason. These are the relationships that you should value, right? And again, I would caution you to be more thoughtful and mindful of how quick you are to co-sign, because it's so easy. We have these people in our lives, right, who are very, very good. Very, very good at being for the world this very composed and intentionally messy, yet ultimately poised, person who's always got the answer, who's always got this and who's always got that. Just be careful. Just be careful, because I can assure you that they're... Oh, so I'll just say this. When someone comes to you with an issue about another person, note that, right? Note how they present the issue, right? Are they making it personal? Or is it a broad general statement? Are they being petty? They just take note of these things and just try to determine as best you can. You may not be able to do 100% with 100% accuracy, but just determine these things on your own. Keep a mental note. And then pay attention to when you see that person interact with the other person that they have a grievance with. Really watch that energy. Really watch that energy and interaction. And you'll see in that moment whether or not this is like a political game, some people have more control issues than other people. Or whether or not it's just some kind of weird, bureaucracy based on paint job or gender. All these things can come into play. But the point is, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't or we can't agree with people. That's wacky, right? But think for yourself. Think for yourself. Don't just take information from one person and be like, well, since I know this person longer, and this is what they said, and everything they say is gospel because everybody loves them. Think for yourself. It will help you more than hurt you. Anyway, I've got a feeling that there are a lot of big changes coming in my life. I usually kind of get this kind of feeling, and look out for whether it's a breakthrough or, change in other ways. You can never know. You can never tell. But I do have this feeling lately that there's change coming in my life. Why am I sharing that with you? Well, historically in my life, I would ignore, A, I didn't know how to identify this feeling before. B, mostly I think because of that, I would ignore this feeling, and this left me ill-prepared for whatever the change or challenge was that was coming. So, not saying that I am right now anyway, existing on like high alert or like hyper vigilant, but being mindful of the changes to my thought process or, levels of anxiety or whatever, paying attention to the subtle differences in energy in people or situations, and just being mindful because you don't want to get caught with your pants down. Nobody wants to get caught with your pants down. This would be bad. So you know what's going to be really tough. So I'm 3 days into this cut, and I'm not dealing with a ton of hunger issues yet, which is good. Hopefully I can maintain this level of satiation, whatever that word is, feeling satisfied for as long as possible. But I'm not doing any junk food. I'm not doing any cheat meals. That's the other catch for January. February I will. I'll implement some cheat meals at maintenance, which is, good. Because the idea with going to maintenance and implementing some surplus, some timed and planned surplus, is hormonal regulation, body fat regulation, metabolism stabilization, mental and spiritual stabilization, because dieting sucks. I don't care what anybody says, dieting sucks. And then mentally preparing for the big fight. Ooh, I'm stoked. Ooh, I'm excited, man. This is going to be ridiculous. I mean, I told y'all, you think I'm playing, but if you're planning on a cut this summer, you better start right now. I don't know why I think I'm so funny. But truthfully, this is going to be a powerful summer. Yeah. And I haven't made up my mind yet. I don't think that I'm going to share as much of this prep as I did last time. I think I shared a bit too much. Either way, it's going to piss people off. Somebody out there going to get mad. That's that guy. Oh, man. Make it look easy, huh? I wish it was easy. Actually, do I? Nah, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I better wrap this up before my wife comes home and interrupts this, which she might really soon. So, that's too much dang muscle. Too much. Oh, God dang it. If you didn't do it on the way in, do it on the way out. Hit that like, subscribe, post notification bell so you can stay up to date on all the cool, fun, wacky shit we talk about here. Nate Beats Like That podcast. Peace, y'all.